These are the 5 skills that will transform your acting career. The first one is navigating the industry. When it comes to navigating the industry, one of the lessons I learned that I want to make sure that you guys understand here today is casting directors are our biggest allies. It's our job as actors to make the casting directors our biggest fans. And that will be a game changer for your acting career in so many ways, so many ways. We want to understand what these casting directors are looking for when it comes to actors. 2 main things. The first is authenticity. The second is professionalism. Professionalism is all about our package, our marketing materials, our package, and it's how we show up in our auditions and how we show up on set. We always have to show up in a term I like to say a lot, industry standard. That's going to be key. And that is how we make casting directors into our biggest fans and our biggest allies. In order to get in front of these casting directors, we have to do it a specific way. We don't go on set when we're on background and try to find out through the principal actor, hey, who's a good principal actor right now? Hey, Leonardo DiCaprio, who's the casting director that you know, man? You think you could hook me up, man? That's not the way to do it. We must go through the correct channels to get in front of the right people. The casting director being one of those people. We have to go through the correct channels. I'm going to play a video real quick. And in this video, I want you to hear from a student who I have worked with, who now has an increased understanding of navigating the industry.
Gave me the building blocks to know what was expected as an actor and how to get paid roles. It just gave me the motivation to keep pushing, keep trying to learn daily to perfect myself and the craft that I must have in this industry.
That is Gregory, a very hardworking and dedicated student I've worked with who now has an increased understanding of how to navigate the industry because there are certain channels that we need to go through, right? So I worked with Gregory to provide him with that blueprint, to provide him with that understanding of how we as professional actors should be approaching this industry. Here is the second key skill. The second key skill is going to be our self-tapes. Industry standard self-tapes grab attention. So we have to make sure that we are creating industry standard self-tapes that grab that attention. We also have to establish a process. We have to establish a process to turn around and audition quickly. In this industry, they may hit us up and be like, hey, we have an audition that's due tomorrow at 6 p.m. Right? We may get this while we're at work, trying to do what we do outside of being cast. But we have to have a process to turn around that audition quickly. And it has to be a quality process so we can get a quality audition because that's what we're in here for. We're in here to book the role. We're not here just going through these motions. So we have to establish that process on top of really delivering an industry standard self-tape. That's going to be a very important skill right now. And this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier. In 2018 is when I moved from Detroit to California. At this time, anytime we got auditions, they would say, we need you to come to this address. We need you to come to this place to do your audition. 2020 hit, the pandemic, and the industry shut down. Hollywood shut down. Since then, it has never been the same. Now, 99% of our auditions in TV and film are self-tapes. We're no longer going into the room. Now, this is important for 2 reasons. The first reason is because how do we book the role? It's in the self-tape. We book the role by booking the self-tape. They used to talk about booking the room. when we used to walk into the room, but that's the thing of the past right now. To book the role, we have to book the self-tape. To book the self-tape, we have to create an industry standard self-tape. That's why this is very important. The second thing that is a big plus right now is we now don't have to live in a specific city. We don't have to be in LA. We don't have to be in New York. We don't have to be in Chicago. But we can be competitive and we can be going out for these roles that are shooting in these cities now because of self-tapes. I'm going to play a quick video. And this video is going to be a student I worked with on self-tapes.
What changes have you noticed in your approach to auditions and self-tapes since completing this course?
I am 100% more confident in what I'm doing and in being on camera. Before taking this course, I was scared to death.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that there was so many nuances to self-tapes. But it's really a whole process in itself.
Yeah.
It's really pretty amazing. And without this course, I would never have known all of that.
That is Jamie, a very dedicated and hardworking artist that is focused on growth. And through working with her in my program, she now understands self-tapes. She now understands how to create an industry standard self-tapes. And that's going to be an essential skill that we must understand and know as actors. The next skill is character development and emotional depth. This is going to be a very important skill because we must understand how to create memorable characters, even in smaller roles. Here's a quote. I want to know who's heard this one before. There are no small roles, only small actors. Drop a 1 if you heard that before, a 2 if you have not. Yes, that is a quote that stands the test of time. And it's important for us to understand what that really means. And what that means is that we need to invest as much time, as much work, as much preparation into these smaller roles as we would if we were the top of the call sheet, right? The lead in that TV show. The same amount of work goes in regardless. We also must understand how to add layers, right? This goes beyond character. It goes a little bit deeper than that. We need to understand how to add layers that facilitate the audience to connect with us on a deeper level. Think about the amazing TV shows that you guys talked about earlier, and think about some of your favorite movies. Was there a moment in the TV show or movie where you felt touched or emotionally connected to what was happening on the screen? When we are able to connect that way to a production or that way to an actor, that's the end all be all, right? That's what we hope for as from the other side of this production, from the directors, the producers, the actors. It's all about connection. And an actor puts in that work to make that connection possible. We have to understand how we should be approaching our character, how we should be approaching our material so we can truly connect to the audience and allow the audience to connect to us. There's a whole art behind that. I'm going to share a quick video, and this is going to be Zaby.
Now I have all these tools, that I didn't have,
Right.
to be able to really develop a character and have a lot more depth. And like you said, like always try to find something, that keeps the stakes higher so that your character is much more enticing to the audience and
Yes.
believable. So I have all of like these tools now that I feel like now I can actually fully use them and build a whole different like character with a lot of depth in it.
Zaby leveled up in terms of creating characters, and that translates to her performance as well. Her performance is now on the next level. That's because of that skill of character development. Yes, we may know how to create a self-tape, right? Yes, we may know how to navigate in the industry, but we also need to understand how to create a character and what goes behind that so we can really elevate our performances and connect deeper to an audience. Here's the fourth skill. The fourth one is improv. Improv is one of the skills that a lot of actors I see don't value, right? But this is going to be a game changer. And this is what really helped me get to where I am in my career. Improv allows us to develop quick thinking and adaptability on set. Let me tell you something. I want you to hear this. I really want you guys to hear this. Every time I go and work on set, we are always doing something I could not have prepared for. We are always doing something that wasn't in the script, in the sides before I got to set. A lot of the times we're doing something where the director says, hey, Yar, let's do this, right? And we didn't hear of that before. Now, for some actors, this throws them off because they've just been rehearsing something in a certain way. And when there are these new elements added, they're not able to adapt. That's where improv comes into play. If we increase our skills when it comes to improv, we're going to be able to not only adapt, but we're going to be able to thrive with this new energy, with these new activities, with this new direction. It also will allow us to stay present and react truthfully in every moment. Here's another one for you guys. Who has ever heard acting is about reacting? It's all about staying present in that moment and working off of the other person. That's what reality is. Because as an audience, we could watch two actors, but if they're not working off of each other, we're not going to connect to the material. It's going to look disconnected and it's going to look mechanical and not realistic because they're not doing what we do in real life. In real life, we modify ourselves based on what we're receiving. And that's why improv is such an important skill. This fifth skill is scene study. Scene study is a skill that allows us to lock down an acting technique that is repeatable. In any business, we have a business model, right? In any sport, we have a warm-up, a routine that we do. It's the same for acting. We should have a process, a technique that is repeatable, that we can apply to every scene that we work on. Through this process that we have established, we will find authentic choices that allow you to stand out. This is why scene study is very important. You'll realize that when you have this technique, when you have this process, nobody else is going to create an audition or create a performance like you because this technique is unique to you. And this technique is so powerful because you created it in a way where you're bringing an authentic part of yourself that nobody else can bring. This is the final skill that rounds out those 5 essential skills that will transform our acting career. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram, Lights Camera Ready, or email me at lightscameraready@gmail.com, and I'll get right back to you. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good rest of your day.